Starting live stream. Preparing. Starting. We're live. Here we go, guys. We are live on YouTube, and we have Chris here live with us. Hopefully everything's working properly because we just spent like the past hour and a half trying to figure this out. So hopefully it is working properly. Chris, are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. I can't see it. I can't. What's going on with the Kindle?
Is it live on YouTube?
I don't know.
You don't know if it's live on YouTube?
I can see you, but it's wagging way behind.
Well, I think we're live.
Somebody got a comment.
I don't see any comments. I don't want to see comments.
Man, it's lagging way behind.
Bear with us here a second. I don't see.
Anybody there?
I have no idea. I don't know what's going on.
There's three watching. Of course, one of them is probably me on my Kindle.
Restore chat. The internet can totally see. Oh, it says we're live.
We're live.
Yeah.
Okay.
For some reason, though, I don't see anybody that's
Watching.
Yeah,
Of
no.
course, one of them is probably me on my Kindle.
Mute your Kindle.
There, I just did. I just want to see how bad it was lagging. It's like 2 minutes behind.
Pop out chat. Here we go. Okay. I think we're good now. I think. Yeah. Oh, there we go. Anthony Miller. Hello from Ohio. What's up, Anthony?
I
can see you both. Perfect. First time doing this, two-person live on YouTube. We just spent like an hour and a half trying to figure it out. So, while we're live, I just want to come on here to talk about food plots a little bit and answer questions that you guys might have, and then Chris can maybe I'll let him chime in a little bit.
Don't do that.
Yeah. And then we got Brandon's Outdoor Adventures. Hello from Ohio. We got two people from Ohio. What's up, Brandon? Hope you are well. What else we got here?
I can't see the chat.
You don't need to see the chat. Just go to the live video and watch the live chat.
Trying.
Okay. So, first things first, if you guys have any questions, be sure to ask. We got a bunch, looks like we got viewers on here now. All right, so it looks like we're working, thankfully. So, Brandon's doing good to hear. We are getting ready to go to the Great American Outdoor Show here in about 2 weeks. So hopefully I get to meet a lot of you guys. Chris will be there as well. He can meet you, and we can talk about food plots and antler grow and whatever else you guys want to talk about. But we're getting into that time of year where people are gearing up for food plots, and it's that time of year to start soil samples. Chris just did a video on this yesterday, but it's very important to do soil samples. What's up, Mark? And because if your soil is lacking nutrients, low in pH, your food plots are literally going to be garbage, and you're going to have a failure, and you're going to spend this money on your seed and your fertilizer and things like that, and you're going to plant the food plot, and then you're going to have poor results, and then in your mind you're going to say, oh man, this food plotting thing is stupid, it didn't work, or I didn't have success with it, and then you give up altogether. And that's not a good way to go about it, because food plots are so much fun. They can be so attractive, and if you do them properly, no matter what else you do on your property, food plots is the greatest attraction to your land. Private land, there's nothing else that beats food plots. Alexander, good afternoon from Michigan. Brandon's Outdoor Adventures. I use Antler Grow now. Perfect. Great to hear. There is going to be a discount during the show, February 1st to the 9th, for Antler Grow MPK. It's online and at the show as well, so you guys can catch that sale. So, Chris,
Yes.
What's happening in Pennsylvania?
Right now, I'm sharing to Facebook, trying to get people to watch.
Okay.
But PA was crazy this week. It was like 70 degrees one day, and today it's like in the teens.
Is it snowing?
It is snowing, and it's starting to turn to rain and sleet.
Okay. Have you already got soil samples on your properties?
I have.
How many acres are we planting this year?
Well, if everything goes right, I've got 5 in one location and about 3/4 of an acre here at the house.
Nice.
So,
what do you plan on planting? Or I should say, what are you going to make me plant for you?
Well, you surely will help, but it's going to be, like I said, if everything goes right, I've possibly obtained a large chunk of land, but I'm going to take on a small portion of it.
Yeah.
And we are going to probably go easy the first year, since it hasn't been actually tilled in a lot of years.
Right.
It was just a horse pasture for probably 12 years now. So there was lots of manure on it and things, but overgrown fields that I brush hogged before the snow started flying back in November there. So it's been clipped. The deer are hitting it pretty good. I mean, underneath, you dig down, there's some good stuff underneath. There's lots of white clover and things.
Nice.
So I'm thinking going with some.
He's thinking.
Yeah, I'm thinking just going easy with some clovers and some winter rye and stuff to try to build some ground
Nice.
for future. But of course, springtime is going to be buckwheat.
Oh yeah, but you haven't got the soil samples back, so you have no idea what you're even working with yet.
No, I've got soil samples are in the mail. They're going to Penn State University, and they should be back within the next week.
All right.
So by the show, I should have results.
Nice. We got 2 questions.
Okay.
Alexander Burns. I hunt 40 acres with absolutely no open fields for food plot. Should I clear some area with a chainsaw for a good food plot? Yeah, by far. I mean, me and Chris did that this year, and literally in the woods, we took out some pine trees, cedar trees from under, saplings and things like that, and we created a great food plot. We have a series video of videos on that on the channel. But absolutely, I mean, you got to have sunlight. Without sunlight, you're not going to have a good food plot. So I would definitely, actually, let me back up. If you want to create this food plot, the first thing to do would be, if you can't get in and out of your food plot without, walking past like a bedding area or spooking deer or something like that, then no, I would not create the food plot. But if you can, or if you can add Egyptian wheat or something like that to use as a barrier, then yes, I would absolutely clear that out for a food plot. Thoughts, Chris?
Yeah, I agree. Like I said, it wasn't real hard with hand implements and things. We went in there, a couple chainsaws, some rakes and things. And you even got a blower this year.
Yep.
So we went in, blew the leaves off, raked the leaves off, burned some of them, got them out of the way, get rid of that acidity. We made it so that we could get a good easterly sunrise into the plot, and overhead sun, of course. You need at least 4 to 6 hours to make a good plot. So yeah, I would agree. Go for it, man.
Cool.
Make it happen.
Make it happen.
Make it happen.
Anthony Miller, will they have a discount on Antler Grow at the Ohio Deer and Turkey Expo? No, but you don't need that because you can order it online during the Harrisburg show. So the sale goes online February 1st to the 9th, and it's always free shipping. So you don't have to buy it at the show because they won't be there. But the only time of year they run that show special is through the Harrisburg show there and online as well. February 1st through the 9th, which is going to be this year. Last year was like the 3rd to the 12th or 13th or whatever it was. So, no, I will not be at the Deer and Turkey Expo.
Yeah, and I think you had a couple comments yesterday. Guys were asking that.
Yes.
It's only during the show.
Yeah, only during the show. That's the only time they do it. Anthony, okay, thank you. No problem, man. No problem. So, Chris.
Yes.
Food plots. Besides buckwheat, what are you planting?
Besides what?
Besides buckwheat, what are you planting?
In the spring?
No, in the for hunting season.
Oh. Well, at my place, I will be putting a mixture. I want to do something pretty here at the house.
You're going to plant fescue, aren't you?
No, I'm not doing ryegrass. I'm not doing fescue.
Okay.
I want to do something nice looking. I want to get. I want organic matter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to put a mixture of sunflowers and sun hemp and some sorghum in.
Yep.
Try to get some thicker stalked stuff there, and then at some point I will brush hog that all down and disc it in.
Nice.
For later.
Well,
Yeah.
you saw what it
That'll
did.
be.
You saw what it did at the farm when we planted those sunflowers and turned them back in.
Oh man, yeah, man. I had a lot of, I wouldn't say hate mail, but I had a lot of people commenting, man, what'd you run over those sunflowers for?
Yeah. Well,
People were upset.
for people watching, I mean, yeah, we planted sunflowers, but we're not planting plots to hunt doves and things like that. We're planting food plots for deer. So we planted these food plots because it was the first year on the property, and I mean the soil was garbage. So we grew all these sunflowers, thick stalks, the heads, everything, and we just used that to build up organic matter in the soil. We didn't spray them with chemicals, and we just let that release, micronutrients and everything into the soil, and we just turned that back in, and it greatly, improved the soil. So, yeah, some people were upset about that for turning the sunflowers in, but we're not dove hunting. We're not bird hunting. We were deer hunting. So if we were dove hunting, then yeah, it would be a different scenario. We would plant a field of sunflowers and hunt doves, but we were doing it for the deer, or for the soil.
Yeah, definitely.
Mike Hunt.
We're in the deer business.
Huh?
We're in the deer business.
Yeah, deer, not dove. I mean, I like dove, but we're not hunting dove. Mike Hunt says I had the same idea. I think he's trying to say a joke. Idea.
Either that or he's agreeing with what I wanted to plant.
Yeah. One or the other.
Yeah.
Either that or he was agreeing and saying that you should plant fescue.
No, I doubt he was saying that.
Come on, man, plant fescue.
I don't think it's a good idea.
I'll help you.
I mean, if you loaded it up with white clover, I guess it might be all right.
Let's go to the store and buy a bunch of ryegrass.
No. There's some other personalities on YouTube that may tell you that. Not a good idea.
Well, ryegrass is in a lot of the no plow seed.
Okay, since we're going that direction, let's talk about some of that.
Yeah, well, the no plow stuff. I mean, if you look at the label, it's no plow, but it says it's. I actually sent you a picture of it like a couple weeks ago. I was at Tractor Supply, and they had a bag of no plow there, and it was saying, I just read the seed label, and it was like, I don't remember, what was it, like 80% ryegrass or something?
It was, it was bad.
And rye grain, there's a difference. Ryegrass and rye grain, totally different. ryegrass is literally a grass seed, and then you got rye grain, which would be similar to, the same, pretty much the same nutritional value of like winter wheat or something. Pretty much it'll grow anywhere. But ryegrass, they fill it in there because it is a cheap filler seed, and it gives the customer it grows anywhere. It creates green forage, but deer don't eat it, and it makes the customer feel like they did something because they have green growing on the ground.
Yeah.
Correct? Yes? No?
Yes. Oh yeah, that's the main ingredient. And these people that don't know any better, they just buy this stuff, and throw and grow. Yeah, it'll grow in the bed of your pickup truck if it gets wet, probably. Right. And they see something green and hey, gold. It's golden.
Gold.
They think they got something.
A gold nugget.
Yep, they think they got something.
Yeah, you just gotta watch it. I mean, because there is decent no plow mixtures out there that doesn't have ryegrass in it, but the low quality brands and things has that ryegrass in there, and it's literally garbage.
Yeah.
2 questions.
Yeah.
Mark, I have 25 acres and going to put in 2 food plots. Should I plant the same on each or plant something different? You could plant the same, and what I like to do is you could plant the same, and depending on how you access that area, Mark, depending how you access it, you could use Egyptian wheat to divide those plots, and that way you could access them. If you plant something different in each plot, then those plots are going to become attractive different times of the year. So like at our property, one of our properties we hunt, we planted 1 acre of oats, winter wheat, and winter rye in one side, split that around in different angles with Egyptian wheat. The other side, we put in a mixture of like 4 different types of brassicas and things. And then we always have our clover perennial plot there, so it's providing for many months out of the year for turkey season. But you don't have to plant the same. You can plant different, but just realize that each one is going to become palatable at different times of the year.
Correct. Yeah. We've seen that firsthand this year.
Yes.
When we have a tower blind up, and we had guys sitting in the blind, and like Dave said, there was 3 different fields in front of us with different varieties. And each week we came back, it seemed like something else matured, and they were into something else each time.
Yeah. So
it was easy to see. It really was.
It was easy to see, and you have to realize that if you plant something different, it is going to be a little bit more hard to pattern the deer because you don't know where they're going to be.
Correct.
But each one is palatable at different times of the year. So like, and I think a mistake is like when you plant food plots, people plant them too early, and they grow so large, and they become stemmy, and they're not attractive anymore. Because we noticed that on the winter wheat field, that I mean, as soon as that stuff grew very lush and tender, the deer hammered it. But later into the year, they kind of stemmed away from it a little bit because it got stemmy, and it wasn't as tender as it was when it was younger, basically.
Yeah, you don't want to get the brassicas in too early, because as Dave's trying to say, is the stems on them actually get tough, and they're not into that.
Right.
Get them in too early, they get too mature, and they're not gonna be the most palatable thing for them at that point in time when you want it to hunt over.
For sure. Mike Hunt, yes, I agree. Cover crop in the summer to build organic matter.
Got it. That's what I thought he was agreeing to, not the fescue.
Yeah, not the fescue. Another comment, White Bone. Hey guys, I'm about to plant a new food plot this season of 1 acre of soybeans. Should I overseed the plot in case turkeys invade the plot to eat the seeds? White Bone, my advice would maybe be to skip planting soybeans for 1 acre.
They're going to hammer it.
Yeah, they're going to hammer it so hard that it may not even grow at all, and then the turkeys again could wipe you out as well. If you're planting soybeans, the minimum, which we're doing this year, but the minimum I would say needs to be at least 3 acres, if not more, of soybeans. Otherwise, depending on how many deer you have in the area, they're going to wipe you out. Now, if you want to invest in that 1 acre and plant it and do a electric fence around it, dual perimeter electric fence to protect the soybeans for 4 weeks or something, then open that up and let them in there, they're still going to hammer it, but then it'll at least give the soybeans a chance to grow and mature to where they could possibly keep up with the browse pecker. Chris.
Yeah, I had a situation, not exactly the same, but I had a bad situation this year.
Yes, you did.
I put a half-acre plot in behind the house of just brassicas and clovers, and I had a real turkey situation. I had about 14 birds that showed up, would not leave, and the first few times I went up and walked them off the plot, literally corralled them off the plot, and they would go to the edge of the woods and stop and watch me and wait for me to leave, and they would come back. So it ended up I was actually getting on the four-wheeler and blowing straight through the plot, chasing them off. They were scattering and flying everywhere. It was kind of comical, but they actually wiped me out.
They did.
And I planted that. I ended up planting that plot 3 times, and I foregone the brassica after they wiped me out, and just started putting clover and winter rye and winter wheat in it. And basically that's what's in it now. It's still green. Right now it's under snow, but it was still green when I checked it last week.
Yeah, definitely.
A little bit sparse. Yeah, the birds clean me out, guys. You gotta plant enough to support whatever's in your area. If you know you got a high density population of deer, you've got to be able to put something in there that's going to last through all the browsing pressure.
We got one of the winter wheat fields we have here. I don't know if you guys can see it or not, but it's still pretty much green. I don't know if you can see it or not, but that's a winter wheat, winter rye, and oats field. But of course, the oats are pretty much gone. But yeah. New question. White Bone says thank you. New question. Norman Osborne. So what is the best thing to plant in the woods? So in the woods, typically I would say your plots, the typical person is going to make a plot that's very small. So you're going to want to plant something that creates a seed head. That way when a deer takes a bite of it, it's still growing, trying to produce that seed. So what I would plant and recommend in the woods would be simple as winter rye, winter wheat, and oats. Those 3 combination there would be very good for the fall planting. If you're doing it in the summer, and Chris will tell you the same thing, in this year we planted a mixture of annual clovers in that woods food plot that we did. The stuff was knee high, produced so much organic matter for the soil. It was crazy. Like it just grew like it was like, I don't know, it was just an awesome food plot in the woods. And that was an annual clover. We tilled that back in at the end of the year, and in the fall we planted a mixture. I think, what do we do? Winter wheat, I think,
yes,
a little bit of perennial clover and oats, I think. But yeah, Chris will tell you the same thing.
Yeah, I was very surprised. Although you can go in and look at, we both have videos on that plot. We went in there, and that was one of the places we talked about clearing by hand. We went in and cleared it all by hand, made sure we had enough sunlight down to the ground, and got rid of all the leaves and everything. And I couldn't believe how we had such a low pH. We amended it with fertilizer and lime. I just couldn't believe for the first time that we had planted that, how well it did with that annual clover.
That was a 4.5, I believe, if I'm correct, the soil pH.
Horribly low.
Yeah.
I didn't even guess it that low. I was guessing like 5.2.
Yeah, it was very, very low. But we added a ton of lime
I was gonna say we put a pallet on there.
Yeah, we put a pallet of lime on there. So we're gonna next 2, 3, 4 weeks we're gonna be soil sampling everything, and seeing the improvement from last year and making a video about it. So new question, Brian Rawlings, what is best for sandy soil? So years ago, it was always a struggle in my mind, that for people to plant in sandy soil. But from meeting and learning from Jeff from Antler Grow, they live in Florida, and all the soil is sandy, and they literally plant everything known to man in sandy soil. So what is best for sandy soil? I mean, if you're doing it in the spring and summer, you could do buckwheat you can get to grow. But in sandy soil, you got to remember, it's like a screen door. So everything that you put in there, it's gonna run through. So you have to build up that organic matter. The more that you can get in there to create organic matter and build actual soil up, it's going to hold more nutrients in the soil. It's going to hold fertilizer. It's going to hold lime. So your whole key with that would be to plant things to increase organic matter: sunflowers, sun hemp, Egyptian wheat, buckwheat. I mean, depending where you're at, I don't know what state you're in, Brian, but some states further down south, you can get away with 2 or 3, even 4 plantings of buckwheat throughout the spring and summer. Chris,
I can't really add much to that because I'm not real familiar with it. But what we've talked about earlier and what you just said makes total sense about the organic matter, trying to thicken it up a little bit so you can hold some moisture and nutrient. So I don't really have a whole lot on that. I just go by, like you said, what Jeff and Gunner and them guys told us. They literally, drought is a real issue in their area, and they basically said they literally fed and watered their plots with Antler Grow spray. I mean, that's what they fed them. So, yeah, a lot of guys have issues with drought down there, and the sand is a problem. So organic matter is going to be key.
Another question, Anthony Miller. I have 2 plots I can do between woods and crop fields. Fields this year should be put in corn. What should I plant in food plots? So 2 food plots I can do between woods and crop fields. Fields this year should be in corn. Well, if they're gonna keep that corn standing, or if they're gonna cut it.
Yeah, that's a free food plot right there.
So on opposite sides of that, you're gonna have to plant something that can get you later into the year, which would be, again, winter wheat, oats, winter rye. You can plant brassicas depending how big that area is, because a food plot failure is people that plant straight brassicas and you have a high deer density and the plot is so small, they come in and wipe that plot out so fast, then by the end of mid-November, end of November, you're down to bare dirt because you didn't plant more of a cereal grain, type setup, and then the brassicas just wipe you out, or the deer wipe the brassicas out, and then you're left with nothing. So depending if they keep that corn standing or cut corn is, by far the best, going to be your best attraction if you have that. But plant something green, because green is like by far the best for attracting and patterning deer. But winter rye, wheat, oats, clovers can get you in there later, into October, November. But yeah, Chris?
I agree with clover. I feel like if he is not sure or not confident, clover is king in late season. We saw that too in this situation this year. There was a lot of times when nothing was really moving, but way over in the 3rd acre over in the other plot, we could see deer grazing over there in the clover. And we had all this, what we thought was succulent brassicas and wheats and rye in front of us. I mean, just picture perfect. They was over there eating clover.
Clover is king for sure.
Can't beat it. Can't beat clover. I mean, I would go with what you're comfortable with, but clover's one of those things I don't think you can really hardly
Yeah.
mess up.
He says it will be cut.
Okay.
So if you can,
Well, there will be a lot of waste. There'll be a lot of waste there, probably left
yeah,
behind after they cut it. So they're going to still come to the fields. Whatever you can do to bottleneck the critters in the direction you want to set a stand.
yeah. Well, if
You
they're
know.
heading to that cut cornfield, if you can plant something green on their way there, then you're golden.
Yep. You have some kind of destination, some kind of staging area, because they don't like to just jump out of the woods and run into that field and start feeding. They're going to probably stand on the edge and look around a while. And if there's some clover to pick around on or something else there for them, why, great staging time right there on the
All right,
edge.
next question. How deep should you go when getting a soil sample, and where do you send it? I'm planting my first food plot this year. So you want to go about 3 to 4 inches, something like that, maybe 5, because you want to get right where most root bases are going to be. As far as where you send it, if you order a sample online, it should come with a address return label. You can just send that right back to the company. If you go to your local co-op, your local like where I'm at, we have a place called the Mill. I go to the Mill, I get soil samples, I fill the bags up, I send it back to them, and then they send it out and have it tested, and they send me the results. So all your local feed shop. Where'd you get yours? J&J? Do they do it?
I got mine J&J. I got actual envelopes from Penn State
Okay.
University. They actually also sell Whitetail Institute kits, which Penn State's were $10. Whitetail Institute was 14. You can find them at your local Tractor Supply. I believe has Whitetail Institute kits also.
Gotcha. There you go.
So, and I'll tell you how I do mine. Here in PA, in the area I'm located at, topsoil is not very thick. So I go down to about 4 inches or so, and you start hitting clay. So I incorporate some of that clay so that they know it's there. You know, you have to do that because your roots are obviously going to make it down into there. So, but yeah, I take about the top 4 or 5 inches myself, and then like I said, in these kits they supply a bag. You fill the dirt up to a certain point on the bag. You have to have at least 1 cup for them to analyze. And what will happen was then you will take it, put it back in the envelope that it comes in. You'll take it to the post office and put it in a bulk box, and which is cheaper because I had 3 samples that I sent yesterday actually, and if I sent them individually, they were going to be $7 a piece. Well, we got a bulk box from the the post office box. You know, you can stuff a bunch of things in it. It was only $8 to send all 3. So there's a little tip there. Don't send them individually.
Perfect. Next question. Oh, what happened? Oh, there we go. I'm hunting an area with field all around and planted a food plot, but seen no deer in the day or morning, but had them on camera at night. What do I need to do to get them in there in the day and morning? So what I would say is if they didn't hit that, most of your deer are going to hit that food source in the afternoon, about a half hour, hour and a half before dark. If you're in an ag area, they're going to typically hit your food plot before they go out to a larger feeding plot, whether it's corn, soybean, or something like that. But I think the main problem with food plots is pressure. So, I mean, if you've done a soil sample, you've done all their fertility and everything's good with the soil, and you planted your plot, and the deer aren't hitting it, then I would say it's probably too much pressure on that food plot, and they're only hitting it at nighttime, or it's just in a bad area where you're accessing that area, you're pushing deer out. But if you have a legit green food source and deer aren't hitting it, that's a problem with fertility, pressure, things like that. So I would kind of look at that, and especially if you're in a large ag area and you're trying to compete with an ag area, agricultural crops, you're going to have to step your soil health and everything up another notch because you're dealing with farmers, that do it professionally. So you're going to have to step that up to increase the palatability of that food plot. Chris.
I'm gonna go with if I understood the question correctly or the statement.
I can read it again.
He says field all around. So I'm gonna go with the access thing, the pressure. If he's coming through a field or an open area to access his stand, he's probably blowing everything out in the morning. I'm gonna say that possibly if that's the case, I'm not telling him that's what he's doing, but if that's the case, why then, yeah, they're showing up before dark, and possibly you're blowing them back out of there at dark too. So that pressure may put them into a nocturnal pattern. So you may want to intermittently hit that spot throughout the season. Don't hit it every night, whatnot. Or just avoid it for a little while, keep them guessing. Hopefully that's not the scenario, but maybe I misunderstood. I don't know.
Okay, next question. Should I till the ground first? I am going to be pulling up roots in the area anyway, so the ground is going to be tore up. Chris.
I don't know the situation.
This was
but
it was the same question as the soil. How far down do you dig for soil sample?
How far? Okay, so he's going to be digging something out already. It sounds like
he's planting a food plot for the first time, and he's asking if he should till first because he's pulling the roots out anyway.
I would say first time around, you're going to want to tear it up anyhow. Want to get everything mixed up, get some fresh dirt so you have good soil to seed contact. So I would say yes. I would till a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. I would till. You can even do a couple times, to bring those weed seeds back up. Let them burn in the sun. Till again. Let them burn, and then till again. That way. If you don't want to use chemicals, or if you want to, either way, it's fine. But just depends what you want to do. But yeah, till the ground for sure. Yeah. But the key with that is too, if you're going to till the ground, have a reason to till the ground. So if you don't, I wouldn't till it just for the heck of it. I would till it. So, he's asking, should he till the ground before getting a soil sample?
That's. I don't think that's necessary. No.
Definitely no. You don't have to till that for that. I thought you were talking about for the seeds or whatever, but no. Whatever you have now, go ahead and dig down 3, 4, 5 inches, grab some soil, and go ahead and send them out.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, next question. My Slice of Heaven Outdoors. Hey, Dave, how's it going? What's up, buddy?
What's up, Joey?
Next question. Chris may not know this because I don't know if you watch this or not. It's something that's happening tonight. But Connor versus Cowboy.
Oh, UFC fight.
He's asking who you got.
Who's my guy? It's been a while since I've actually watched it, but I remember the Cowboy was a bad dude, and lately Connor's been getting knocked out. So I don't know. I might just guess and say Cowboy. Go get him.
I'm actually gonna go against you, even though I hate going against Cowboy, but I believe Connor in the first round is going to knock Cowboy out cold. That's my bet.
We shall see.
Next question.
I haven't been up on it. So I don't. That's just my guess.
How about this? Whoever's right or whoever's wrong has to buy the other person a pound of lime. No answer.
It hurts. It hurts already.
All right, next question. My Slice of Heaven Outdoors said hello, Chris.
It's my man Joey.
Did
It's
step
Joey.
till before getting a sample. Blah, blah, blah. Joe, would you recommend no plow or throw and grow for a small food plot in the woods? I would recommend that if you want to buy a no plow seed, buy one that does not have ryegrass in it. We talked about that a little bit earlier in the video, but find one that does not have ryegrass. The cheapest route, most successful way that you can do it is go to your store and buy a bag of, literally just go buy a bag of winter wheat and winter rye and some oats and spread it that way. Chris.
Yeah, I'm not into the throw and grow at all. I did, I don't know, 2-3 years of that stuff and wasn't getting any good results. Was getting really frustrated, and that was years ago when I started to do all this. Got very frustrated quick. I mean, nothing was really coming through. Ryegrass is.
It's a grass.
I mean, they will eat it. They'll pick at it a little bit here and there, but it's not an attractant. It really isn't, guys. I mean, you need to avoid that. I still say, you know, I like to go with clover. I really do. I mix chicory with it. I mean, it looks literally like salad when it comes up. It looks so good. I mean, I just want to pick it and pour some Thousand Island on it, man.
Yeah, I would say the same. Clover, I mean, I've seen it, especially up northeast where we're at here. Clover's king by far. I've seen it for many years. I mean, they will hit that clover pretty much any time of the year.
Look at all the days we were in the deep timber.
Yeah.
In the mornings, we would go back in the deep timber to what we thought were hot spots because we was getting tons of trail camera pictures and the trails beaten down to the dirt, and we're sitting there not seeing anything. And your phone's going off from the cell cameras. They're up in the field eating. They're up in the clover field.
Okay, thank you. Going to start the plot now. Awesome, man. Good luck. Keep us posted. James, he says, cowboy all the way.
Yeah, man.
Another question. Outlaws. We got 70 acres in North Mississippi. It's all hills and bottoms. The food plots we have are small food plots. The food plots we have are small flat spots that we have on top of ridges. Perfect. What's a way to increase food with little room to plant? Well,
sunlight. How much sunlight you got?
You have to cut some trees down, hinge cut, hack and squirt. Yeah, I mean all those really. But if those ridges or the food plots are on top of the ridges, which is great because the wind on top of those ridges are going to be more stable than it would be down at the bottom. So as long as you can get up to those ridges through access trails and things like that to get up to the top, it'll be a great place for those food plots and deer to be traveling across those ridges. Yeah? No?
It's all right.
Whatever.
It's all right. Sign advice. Get a good entrance and exit plan.
But yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of ways to increase food with little room to plant. I mean, because you got to remember, food plots are supplemental. Most of the time, they're not there year. I think what people forget is that if we didn't plant food plots, are all the deer going to die? No,
the deer
are not going to die.
No.
It's just that they're supplemental. We are helping them because we're creating a plant that's more nutritious than anything else in the area. So you're using that as a attracting, but if it's large enough, then you're using it as more of a nutritional source. But browse is the backbone to all healthy deer herds. You got to have browse, briars, bushes, shrubs, saplings. I mean, any brow, goldenrod. I mean, all this stuff is what deer eat on a daily basis. And without browse, then you got nothing. So even if you have no browse and you add food plots, it's still they still need browse. So they're going to be feeding elsewhere and then hitting those food plots just for the extra, nutrition and variety of food. But you got to have browse.
Yeah. Yeah, browse is key. I mean, it's everywhere. Uh, this isn't a plug, but we took in our staging areas all around the fields. There's a bunch of goldenrod and just a bunch of nasty stuff, and we even spray it with the antler grow. You'd be surprised how long the deer hang out in that browse before they'll enter the field. A lot of times they will totally skirt the field and just browse along the edges of it, and they won't even enter sometimes. I mean, they're out there enjoying what they've got.
It's what they eat every day.
Yeah. I mean, we are not feeding the animals. We are trying to attract the animals, basically. But you have to have enough there so they don't wipe you out.
For sure. I mean, for instance, like the property we're referring to, when we first got it, there was basically no food. And all the deer were skinny, ribs sunk in, ribs showing, hardly any deer at all. We increased a lot of food, browse, enhanced things, food plots. Now all the deer are full, they're fat, they're happy. We have tons of deer. We hunted opening day. Remember this, we hunted opening day of turkey season and never saw a turkey. Nothing.
Yeah, it was a horrible day.
But after years, 1 year, it changed. 1 year, we added clover, did what we did, antler grow, spray, enhanced browse, whatever. The following year, we had turkeys all over the place. Chris shot one, I shot one, everything. So it doesn't take long to turn a place around.
Definitely. And there was a lot of natural blueberries there, barberries, honeysuckle, and the goldenrod and things. We sprayed it all. Anything we thought that they might eat, we've been spraying.
We even went as far as a pressure washer.
Yeah, Dave made up a slick rig, drawing from a tank into a pressure washer, being able to spray
everything,
30 feet in the air.
That whole tree, because when it gets absorbed, it just goes through that whole tree down through everything.
And the beauty of it is, if you can get the wind behind you, even better yet. Just takes it, atomizes it, and just everywhere.
All
definitely.
Right,
and those trees too. I want to mention those trees, those apple trees that are on the property. Those. What did the landowner say? Hadn't had an apple on them in 10 years or something. He said, right?
10, 11 years or something.
For the first application we put on, and we didn't even have the pressure washer then. I brought a 12-foot ladder, and Dave was going up to the top of the ladder as high as he could reach and spraying with a wand. And holy smokes, go back and look at the videos we each have on that. Video updates of what we did, or what we videoed of the apple trees. Holy smokes, it was bumper crop. Ridiculous.
Right. Next question. Oh, hunting with Preston says, "What's up?"
Hey, Preston, what's happening,
Brian
buddy?
Rawlings, how many soil samples should I take on a 4-acre plot? Right now, the plot has a no plow hayfield. What should I want to fill in? 4-acre field? That's a lot of soil samples. I don't even know how to tell you to get. I mean, you want to get, if you have a hillside, then you want to take your samples across that top side, because all the nutrients in the soil are going to run down to the bottom. So the tops are going to be the least nutrient dense in the soil than the bottoms were. But in that whole 4-acre field, I mean, you're talking, I would get multiple. I mean, 10, 15, just make sure you get multiple ones in each acre. Separate them if you want, divide them out, and say, okay, well, if you got an acre, you're going to get four soil samples in that acre, and do that all the way across the board if you're trying to gather that average in that whole field.
Yeah, definitely take an average. Poke a bunch of holes and mix it up good.
All right.
I agree. Should probably be segmented off though,
Do
like you
what
were
now?
saying. I said it probably should be
Yeah.
segmented off and taken,
Yeah.
particular
Yeah. Yeah.
patches.
When we cut trees down to create food plots in thick wood areas, do we need to get the stump out too? I don't. You don't have to. I mean, we didn't. We didn't do it in the plot. I mean, would it be nice if you have the equipment
No.
to do it? Sure, but you don't absolutely do not have to at all.
Well, here's a free little tidbit for you. If you wait till spring, if it's maples, I'm talking. If you wait till spring when the sap's running, if you cut it off then and then you get those fresh sprouts, that's like ice cream to them deer. All those fresh sprouts will be coming off that stump. That's a free food plot right there in itself.
I mean, yeah, those stumps you might rob a little bit of moisture, nutrients, or something, but I don't think it's that big of a deal. You can only do what you got to work with. I mean, if you
you're not gonna hire a backhoe to come in and pull stumps.
Although we may be doing a little bit something like that this year, maybe. I'm not gonna say yes or no, but we may be getting into something where we require to rent a backhoe, and Chris is smirking.
Hey,
okay,
I'm down for it. I'm a heavy equipment operator.
Right.
In my dreams.
All right, next question. What would be the best thing to plant in my food plot? I'm in Georgia. The field around me are planted in peanut, cotton, and corn. Well, you're going to want a green base. So you're going to want to plant brassicas, clover, winter wheat, winter rye. That basis pretty much works anywhere across the U.S. But as long as it's green, create green. Deer love green, tender plants that's high in moisture content. But yeah, can't go wrong with clover, wheat, rye, all that good stuff. High in moisture content.
Yeah, I'm not going to disagree, but I am going to tell you, I feel sorry for you. That's going to be hard to compete with. but yeah, they eat a lot of green on a daily basis, so they got to have something like that in their diet. Just can't eat peanuts and corn. But yeah, they definitely need a balanced diet. So if you provide the green, maybe they'll be in your spot.
You got to have a mix, hard mass, soft mass. You know what I mean? So if you can plant that green base.
Yep.
Next question.
For sure.
Could I send y'all an outlined picture of the property with contour lines, etc., and get a detailed assessment plan? Of course, we discuss price for your work. Yeah, Outlaws, send me an email. It's Whitetail Obsession Outdoors 1 at yahoo.com. It's in the description of every video. Send me all that info and we can work something out. James, what do you think about conceal for screening? I'm using sunflowers and wheat. Personally, I would not buy that because there is food in there that deer eat. So deer are going to be attracted to the wall, and you don't really want that. So what I think the best screen would be winter or Egyptian wheat.
Egyptian wheat.
We planted Egyptian wheat for many years. Egyptian wheat deer don't eat. I mean they can. I've seen them do it, but majority of cases, 95% chance that they're not going to eat Egyptian wheat unless they're like absolutely starving. But Egyptian wheat grows 10, 15 feet tall. It's easy to grow. Matures in 128 days. Stands up pretty well to snow and wind and things like that. But it's an annual, so you got to plant it every year. If you're going to plant, if you want to plant a perennial that comes back every year, you can look at switchgrass. If it's along a road, you can plant trees. There's a lot of different things that you can plant, but I've never planted conceal, but it's very expensive. You can buy a 50-pound bag of Egyptian wheat and do it that way for much cheaper.
Probably half the price.
Half the price. Next question. Same guy, James. I'm in Tennessee, Chattanooga. Keep in mind. Yes. Hello from Kansas, everyone. Ryan.
Hey, what's up, Kansas?
All right. Well, we're on 55 minutes. So if anybody else has any questions, any more questions before we get ready to log off here in the next 5-10 minutes or something, fire away, and we'll answer them for you. We'll go a little bit longer, but yeah, fire.
I'm game. I'm not doing nothing.
So here we go. Why don't we just stream all day?
I'm snowed in. Let's do this.
Okay.
I can do that. Maybe not, but most of the day.
So yeah. Any more questions? Fire away, guys. I'm
seeing like 20 viewers.
22
watching now.
Yeah, fire away, guys. Ask. We'll keep going here a little bit longer.
Let's get into this now. Okay, guys at work, we're asking twofold. First of all, how did we get hooked up with Antler Grow? And second of all, how did you and I hook up? Who wants to start? You start.
So, 5 years ago, I guess, I saw Antler Grow on YouTube or Facebook, and I thought it was something interesting because it was something that was different, and it kind of made sense to me, but I didn't really understand it fully. So I contacted Jeff, and we talked a little bit back on Facebook, and at that time I had just started YouTube, so I was looking to kind of build that relationship with them. So he said, hey, if you want to talk about this more, come to the Harrisburg show. So I went to the Harrisburg show, bought a gallon of Antler Grow, got a t-shirt, came home, started using it, and absolutely fell in love with it. Became good friends with Jeff. We hunt together now. We travel, do all kinds of different things, and that's how I got to use the product. And then the past couple years, I was at the show, the Harrisburg show, in the booth with Jeff, and Chris came up one day. I had no idea who he was, and I think I was just standing there, and I saw him there. He was talking to Jeff, and he said, "Hey, I've seen your videos on YouTube or something." And then we just started talking, and then we became good friends, and he helped me on the farm, and it just went from there.
Yeah. Okay. I started going to the Great American Outdoor Show years ago, and when Jeff started coming to the show with Antler Grow, I was very intrigued because I was having food plot failure, basically, because remember I was saying earlier, I was doing all this throw and grow garbage, and it just wasn't working out. And I thought the spray would be a good addition to something to help me. So I would guess I probably came to the show 2 years in a row and did not buy Antler Grow because I'm a natural skeptic. I thought maybe this could be a hoax. Who knows? But the more I talked to Jeff and the more comfortable I got with it, and the more it made sense to me to use a product like this. So I had bought some and used it. And then getting to Dave and I, as he had said, I came to the show one time, I guess it was 2 years ago, and was, like he said, just standing there rapping with Jeff about the product, and he was over there. Nobody was in the booth but him at the point in time, I believe. And actually what I said was, hey man, I recognize you. And because I felt bad for him. Nobody was sitting there talking to him, so I had to say hi to him. But so I said, hey man, seen you on the internet there, watched a couple of your videos. He said, good stuff, I'll be watching. And that was about the extent of the conversation, although he got up, walked over, and the three of us talked some more about the product and things. And I think Jeff even gave me a shirt that day to go with the bottle that I bought. Um, and then it wasn't. I can't remember if you sent me or I sent you. One of us sent each other a friend request. We became friends on Facebook, and we just very small talk type things because we really don't know each other that well. And at some point there in the next few weeks after the show, he had made a post on Facebook about possibly getting a piece of land, and he was having trouble locating some lime for the property. And at that point, I messaged him back and said, "Hey, I could check. I know a local place. I could check for you, see if we could get you some lime lined up." And he asked he said if that was okay with me. And I said, "Sure, I'll do it." So called a buddy of mine. It ended up being J&J out of Brookville, Pennsylvania. I know Chad, and Chad said, "Well, you have to call my brother Josh." We got that all straightened out. And ends up, we got him a pallet of lime delivered for the farm. And then I guess it was a couple days later, I messaged you back and said, "Who's helping you do this?" And I think your reply was you had a couple buddies lined up, but they backed out on you. so I don't remember if you asked or if I offered, but I wasn't having nothing was going on that day. But the Jaffa Mosque show was that day. Yeah, I told you after we spread that, I want to go to this show. So that's what we did. Well, I showed up, and J&J showed up with their lime, and we unloaded, went down, spread it in a pretty good rainstorm. We got pretty wet, but we got it done in 2 hours? I think it was 2 hours. We got done. We spread it all.
That was and then
So then I booked out of there and went to the Jaffa show, and then it blossomed from there. He needed help doing stuff at the farm, so I went over and started helping him. And he said, "Hey, do you want to hunt here with me?" And I said, "Well, whatever." I wasn't worried about it, but he invited me, so I thought, heck yeah, another place to hunt. So now, geez, the place is covered up in critters, and I enjoy it. It's been good stuff. Yeah. Yep. Now he don't ever leave me alone. He messages me when I'm sleeping. Overworked, underpaid.
What happened? Paid.
I said overworked, underpaid.
We all are. All right. Next question. We got questions.
What is it?
My slice of heaven outdoors.
Oh yeah.
I'm not sure if you've seen any of my videos, but I know Chris has. I have lots of clay and rocks. Give me tips to improve my plots. Well, you have a bunch of clay and rocks, you need to start building soil. So depending how big those rocks are, you can plant multiple plantings of buckwheat, multiple plantings of sunflowers. It's going to take a lot of years. You could do a like a no-till method, to where you plant something. You could buy a crimper and crimp that over top the soil. It just depends how big. There's a time and place for everything. But if you have large rocks where you can't disc it, then you have to do a different method. But if they're just small rocks, then just lightly disc the top portion of that soil. Keep planting things to stalky plants to build that soil up over time, and just keep overseeding it. Keep something in there for as many months out of the year as possible.
Yeah, I watched some of Joey's videos and things there, and I know he has access to equipment. I don't know what his monetary situation is, but you could always get a couple triaxles of dirt of topsoil or something, dumped on top, and he has a way to spread it out down there. Just a suggestion. If it's not too big of an area, I'm saying, if it's a centralized kill spot or something that you're planting. I know I've seen you build roads and things with your equipment. And I'm pretty sure you could get a truck back in there to dump some topsoil. I mean, if it's not too expensive. Topsoil's not too bad, and I don't know how close it would be for you to get anything delivered. I know that's a far-fetched thing, but it's definitely a possibility, though.
I like the buckwheat method better, just saying.
Yeah, well, I mean, if it'll grow okay for them, you know. But things like let's think about it for a second. Things like sorghum and tubers like radishes and things like that, like to grow down and break up the soil, and will aerate that thick clay for you.
He said they're gravel-sized rocks up to larger than softball rocks. I have been picking up the large rocks, but they keep multiplying.
Yeah, he's probably sitting on a quarry. Oh boy. Yeah, organic matter's key. If you can get a truck in there to dump some good screen topsoil, that would be nice if it's not out of the price range. But yeah, you wanna get planting something that's going to get down and bust up the soil and aerate, and yeah, you're going to want to break that up because clay's so tight. It's hard to get the roots down through it.
He said he thought about that, the topsoil.
I mean, it's definitely a possibility if the money's not too tight.
Definitely do that. I think if you do the buckwheat scenario and just keep crimping that over, keep planting it, plant it, crimp it, and just keep doing it over and over and over, you're going to start to build that topsoil up on top as well.
Yeah. Depends on what his method of planting is too, though. You know, because if you get too thick of a matting on top of there, you're not going to get the soil to seed contact and get germination. Depends on how thick, you know.
Yeah, he's in the Ozarks.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I know people out that way, and basically they kind of rely on that, only disking that very small portion off the top and just overseeding with like rye and wheat and things, just to kind of constantly keep something in there growing, and then just kind of, you know, tilling it down, crimping it and things like that, just on that top portion.
Yeah, to be honest, when I disc or till, I only go about 2-3 inches deep, really, because I have a lot of clay here. So if I go deeper than that, I'm bringing the clay to the top, and you know, I don't know that that's a altogether good thing. You want to keep that topsoil on the top.
Let's see. I had hay fields around my property. I was thinking about seeing if they had old hay and just rolling over the plots. What do you think about that option? Well, you could do that, but it's going to be full of a lot of weeds. I'm afraid to disc or till because of all the rocks. Yeah, I would just do the overseed method then. Bare ground, frost seed clover into there. You could literally broadcast winter wheat on top of that soil before a hard rain to get things to plant in there. Other than that, I mean, other than doing that, you're going to have to get soil in there.
Yeah. Yeah, you're gonna need some soil. I mean, the hay will break down and work, grass clippings, that type of thing. But as Dave said, there's gonna be a lot of garbage mixed in with it. You'll have to compete with all of that. But it definitely does work. You know, just like composting for your garden. You throw all that stuff in, it minimizes down, and it's like dirt when you're done. You know, it rots down. The hay would work. I mean, when we built this house, I put the grass seed out, and I put the hay on top, and the grass was great for 2 years, and then my yard's like a hay field now. If it wasn't for weeds, I wouldn't have any grass.
All right, what else we got? No more questions.
No more questions? Someone's got to have more questions.
We're out, man.
What's our next
hold on, I
topic?
missed one. I just subbed to your channel, Slice of Heaven. Looks like you have some good videos. Ryan, thanks for subscribing.
Cool. Cool.
Chris,
Some
why,
of your
why don't you
viewers,
throw a plug
what?
in for your channel?
Oh, okay. Like we were talking here, most of you know, or now you know, that Dave and I collaborate on his channel, of course. And I'm always filming things with him, for him, and I do some of my own here at the house. So if you would, my channel, check this out. Got my own merch on. Got my city sticker Chris shirt on.
Looks like you need to lay off the donuts.
Nah, man, look at that. Thin and trim, all muscular and stuff. What a joke. But that was from you this summer, giving me donuts. Anyhow, yeah, I've got a channel that we're trying to grow called City Sticker Chris. The idea behind it is to play on words. I grew up in Pittsburgh, hence the city part, and sticker being bow hunting and things. That's what I like to do. But yeah, I grew up in Pittsburgh, 31 years, moved out to the country, and enjoy living the country lifestyle and doing all things deer and bear and turkey.
Right.
So City Sticker Chris, come see me. You'll see Dave on my channel. You'll see me on Dave's channel.
Asking, do you have a link to your channel? I'm gonna post it up now.
Dave can do it because I'm on different devices here.
I will post the link. Keep talking.
All right. Yeah, so that is, that's my background. When I lived in the city, there was very small pockets. I mean, literally like the shirt, you could see the cityscape in the back. There was this one area where I lived in a little town. It had about 10 acres of land, and I could see it from my front porch. And come to find out, I knew the guy that owned the property. So I went and saw him, asked him if I could hunt it, and he said, sure, go ahead. Shot the biggest buck up until 2 years ago. I had shot the biggest buck that I ever shot down there in the city of Pittsburgh. Couldn't believe my eyes. But when I lived there, I shot, and I only hunted it like, I think I got to hunt it 5 years or so before I moved out of there. And I shot 4 bucks and 3 doe off of that hillside. And just recently, I talked to my parents, and they said that land has been sold. So no more hunting there for me. But it was a real handy place to the house. It had turkeys and all. Filled with poison ivy and poison oak, though. Oh my gosh. Had to watch. But yeah, my channel is much like Dave's. We cover a lot of food plot stuff. Tractors, chainsaws, trees. I like the bear hunt. I'm not that good at self-filming yet. I haven't been able to get myself killing much self-filming, but we're working on it.
We killed 5 deer.
Yeah, got 5 deer this year. Was very fortunate. I have got a personal situation at home here. I've got a young teenager with some conditions, so he is not able to eat red meat, only but once a week now. So we do not eat that much red meat. And we had a good year last year where I killed 4 deer and he got 1. So we had a freezer full of meat left. And I needed to kill some does around here. I needed to kill some does for Dave off at where we hunt at together here in PA. We're overrun with does there. And so he kept asking me, when are you going to shoot something with the bow? When, I'll film you. I said, no, I'm not in a hurry. I don't need the meat necessarily, but once rifle season come around, I unleashed. Got the old 7mm mag out, and it ate. So had a good season. I got a nice big 9-point with the rifle, and then shot 4 does thereafter. One with a flintlock. First time with a flintlock. I've shot many with percussion cap in early season here in PA, but just got a flintlock last year, and was able to, on New Year's Day, as a matter of fact, I shot a nice doe. So you're probably asking, what'd you do with all the deer? Well, I donated a bunch of deer. The buck that I got went to my father. A guy that hunted with us, TJ, Dave's buddy, TJ, he was able to take one and get one butchered. I was able to donate one to my pastor of the church. So, yeah, I was able to get rid of some deer. And that's, some people may not agree with that. They might say, well, why are you hunting them if you don't eat them or whatever? But, sometimes there's situations where we had to eradicate some, That's what you call true harvesting. People say kill, harvest, whatever, but, we had to harvest a few deer to get them out of the area. What do you say, Dave?
Yeah, gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah, we had so many there that we had to, whatever you want to call it, evening up the buck to doe ratio, or just eliminating so many deer that they're just not devouring the plots,
All right.
But yeah, had a good year.
Next question.
Good year. Next
What is a
question.
good
Go
way
ahead.
to remove huge rocks from a food plot?
Oh boy. What
Right.
equipment do
You
they
need
have?
Equipment. Tractor with a bucket.
Depends. Like I said, depends on what kind of equipment they got. You can use a subsoiler, backhoe. Oh boy.
Tractor with a bucket and hard labor.
Yeah, it's going to take hard labor, definitely, unless you got a track hoe or something, or a dozer. But yeah, there's not a real good answer to that unless you got equipment.
We got a Maryland viewer. Could
Maryland
you send
viewer.
me what blend that is best to plant in sandy soil? I'm in southern Maryland.
Well, there you go. You might know something about
a
that,
little
Dave.
bit. Like we talked about that earlier, sandy soil. You can, if you do it right, you can get anything to grow in sandy soil. I would plant clovers. You can do rotations of buckwheat. You can do rotations of sunflowers. You can do Egyptian wheat. Sun hemp will grow and produce a lot of organic matter into the soil. Things like that. If you want to send me an email, you can send me an email. And I can write you a list down or something to plant. But anything like that would work in sandy soil.
Yeah.
You got to keep in mind, like we mentioned, sandy soil is like a screen door. So everything you put in there is gonna, like a screen door, it's just gonna run through it. So it's all about building up that organic matter.
Definitely. Yep. And I want to give a shout out to Mark Ma Taz. Somebody just subscribed.
There you go.
Thank you for that. Hey, we aim to please, man. Dave and I are probably an exception to the rule. We keep it clean, keep it real. You don't hear us cussing and carrying on, or we don't go out drinking or nothing. We're the exception to the rule. We've got it. Keeping it family friendly.
So
No BS. No BS, Dave.
Smoke and mirrors.
No smoke and mirrors. We tell it like it is. I don't. If he tells me, if he asks me a question and I don't know the answer, like in this live stream, I just tell you I don't know the answer.
Next question. So you recommend cereal grains over brassicas for a plot in the woods. Also want to try antler grow on plots and apple trees. Well, not saying I 100% recommend cereal grains over brassicas. It depends on how big that plot is and how much sun is available to that plot. Most plots in the woods, there's limited sunlight, so you have to go a different route than brassicas because brassicas require a lot of sun. So in an area that doesn't have a lot of sun and you have a lot of deer and the plot is small, you want to focus more on cereal grains. Plant winter wheat, winter rye, oats, clovers do well, but plant something that creates a seed head, something that when a deer takes a bite of it, it's going to continue to grow. Chris?
I'm going to add something to that. You got to worry about your fertility in your soil and your pH levels. Brassicas take a lot from your soil. If you're starting out low, you're not going to have success with brassicas in your food plot in the woods. You're going to have to bring that and build that all up first before your brassicas will take off. Providing you got the right pH, the right fertility, and the right sun with a lot of sunlight. Brassicas are more full sun. So if you don't have full sun for 8-10 hours in a woods plot, you're probably going to fail. Just, I don't know, take it as my opinion, but I'm pretty sure I'm right on that one.
Where do you buy antler from?
AntlerGrow.com online. Free shipping. During the show, February 1st through the 9th. Not only is it free shipping, but you get $20 a jug off.
The MPK is $10 a jug off.
Yes.
That was asked. Question that was asked.
Okay, so that would be what, $60 for a jug of Antler Grow?
50 for MPK.
And what?
Yeah.
It's 50. Which I gotta hit Jeff up for some NPK.
And that does 5 acres. Each bottle, whether it's the Antler Grow or MPK, will cover 5 acres, and those two can be mixed together to get your micronutrients and fertilizer together, and that'll do 5 acres. Cents per dollar. I mean, break it down per acre. What's the math? You're looking at if it's $60 for 5 acres. I mean, you're looking at like $12. $12 an acre.
Yeah, and it's cheaper than fertilizer per acre.
100%. I mean, you're looking at, if you got an acre and you got to go at it with 300 pounds of fertilizer per acre. That's a lot of money.
Well, if the folks go over and see the video on my channel that I put out yesterday, I talked about fertilizing like maybe 3/4 of the recommendation, and then going back later on in the year and doing some foiler feeding through spraying Antler Grow and NPK, because NPK is obviously a liquid fertilizer. So you can cut down on your fertilization costs by using the product. Much cheaper than buying it bulk in bags.
Which is still needed at initial planting, but you can cut back on half, and then when the plants grow, you can foiler feed and use the extra money to pay for that. You still spend the same amount of money, but the result is a better end game.
I also wanted to add, and it's in the video, a split application may be what these guys that are asking the questions not having enough topsoil. Because if they go out there and throw all this fertilization down on the ground and don't have any organic matter or topsoil to hold it there, to be absorbed into the ground, it's probably going to wash off, and they're wasting money. So they may want to split application that, do it in a few different times of the year.
Yeah.
But get it in the ground, but maybe some different times.
Definitely. Thanks, guys. Great info.
You're welcome.
What else? What else you got? We're at an hour and 25
I don't know.
minutes.
Go over some frost seeding.
Which,
Or you could wait till I make a video
I ain't
on
making
it.
no video on frost seeding. No,
Yep.
but we are going to frost seed. Where we're at, probably about mid-March, end of March, early March, depending when you get those freezing and thaw temps. But we are going to be frost seeding clover this year. We're actually going to, or as we are, but I'm going to do a experiment in just a regular field. We're going to bring that back to clover. Just through, we're not going to disc it, we're not going to disc it or turn it or nothing. We're just going to keep it. We're going to frost seed it, keep clover in there, bush hog it, spray it with antler grow, bush hog it, spray it with antler grow, bush hog it, spray it with antler grow, to bring that kind of, let those clovers overtake a little bit. And it's just going to be a little bit of an experiment for this year. But we'll be making some videos on that, and then we'll be frost seeding some other plots. Chris will be frost seeding as well. We'll be frost seeding together.
Yeah.
So we got a lot of frost seeding coming up.
Yeah. Yeah, and if, like I said, if all goes right with this piece of property, I think when you put that on the hunt stand app, what was it, 11 acres? 11 acres it was. Some of it is sloping ground. There's specific areas that I want to plant specific things as far as plotting goes, but I brush hogged that all off, and it's been, like I said, about 12 years it was horse pasture. And so when I hogged off all the garbage, some of the good stuff started to come back. So I've kind of decided this year in the places that I'm not going to specifically target deer in that field, I'm probably going to spread a bunch of clover. I'm going to frost seed it and just let it come up. I was just over there walking around the other day taking those soil samples, and a lot of that weed obviously is killed from the hogging and the weather we're having, of course. And so I feel that I'll have a really good catch of clover, I believe, in the spring if I get in there and frost seed it on time. So kind of excited about that. I mean, it's almost all field, and three sides of it, well, 2.5 sides of it are pretty much unhuntable. One is road frontage and another is neighbor's property. But where I'm planning strategically to put some plotting in, why, a fella may have a good time hunting there. So looking forward to that.
You're going to do strips of Egyptian wheat too, right?
Yes, I am going where I strategically want to place these. I'm going to put Egyptian wheat all the way around. So for one, it's not visible from the road frontage because get a lot of spotlight, and I don't know the poaching's too rampant here, but the spotters are a big thing. And it seems like the deer here are pretty skittish. Whenever you hit them with a light, they're out of there. So I want to put some on the frontage and along the side of the neighbors that I won't be hunting, and so that they're not getting too interested in what I've got behind there. Why? I'm going to enclose it in. Yeah, definitely. Keep it out of sight. Keep it out of sight. Hey, if you're paying for it, you might as well protect it, right? You know, that's another thing. Brings us to all the trespassing and purple paint stuff going on.
Before we get to that,
You know,
Steve says, "What's up? What's up, Steve?" And then, how much bedding do you guys create surrounding your plots, or do you let the deer use natural bedding? So, on the one property here that we hunt together, we actually haven't really done anything with bedding because there's a lot of natural bedding areas that were already there, and then we created the food kind of around that. So this year, though, we're going to be doing some hinge cutting and different things for extra bedding in different, strategic locations. But so far, we haven't done anything with that. I have on other properties, but this one had a lot of natural bedding already around it.
Yeah, I don't create anything here. I really don't. I have a lot of natural woods all around me, and they just move freely as they want. So, yeah, I just set up on bottlenecks and things. Wait on them. I just wait on
Purple
them.
paint. Break it down to us. What's the purple paint about?
Well, Western states have had good success with this, supposedly. They, instead of the ranchers and farmers and things, buying these expensive yellow posted signs or no trespassing signs, they have adopted this purple paint law, is what it's called, I guess. And what it is you have to put a 8-inch long by at least 1-inch wide strip of paint on a tree, and that will replace the yellow posted sign. So folks that have large tracts of land will be able to save a bundle of money from keeping them from going out and posting their property constantly, between the wind and the squirrels and everything else that takes those things off your trees. The purple paint, it'll stay. I'm guessing it's probably going to be on a tree 3-4 years before you have to go back and touch it back up. It'll basically replace the posted sign eventually. You are going to be responsible to know where you are at all times. Yes, which you should actually be doing. And if found inside a perimeter of purple paint, there's supposed to be like a no excuse clause. So, like, if you're within those zones, if the cops or the game warden come, they are being able to prosecute you. I know they'll be spread thin. They're not going to be able to come to all the calls. And I know there's been so much said on videos that I even made that, I'm colorblind and, all this jazz. But I think it was you, Dave, that said you'd read somewhere that the actual chemical composition of the paint is different.
The way they manufacture the actual no trespassing purple paint, it's supposed to be visible even with colorblind people.
Yeah, so it'll be a different hue, and it'll stand out.
I think that's more
probably like
than anything.
Yeah. So that's covered. Then you had the people saying that, that'll allow any jackwad down the road to take a purple can of paint and spray himself a little sanctuary. Well, I don't know. I wouldn't want to be that jackwad and get caught doing that. It's could be a costly mistake.
We're going to be purple painting here in about 3 weeks.
Yeah, we will. You've heard of painting the town red. We're going to have the town all purple.
See what happens. You can only do so much. But
a criminal's a criminal. They're not respectful in the first place. And don't want to be on the wrong side of the purple paint. Know where you're at all times.
Steve, hey bud, have you started liming yet? Not yet. We'll be liming, I'd say, within the next 4 weeks or so. Soil samples coming up. Chris got some soil samples up by him, but I'd say in the next 4 weeks we're going to be liming if we need to.
Yeah.
Need to.
Some of it may not. You know, if it's 6.0 or higher, you know, you can call it good.
If it's 6, then I'll probably keep going a little bit, but because I want to try to get it close to a 6.8 as I can, but just because I'm
I would
just
personally.
I'm very picky when it comes to soil. I'm like a fanatic about it, but depends.
I would personally.
Depends how far you want to take it.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I mean, if you go into that video from yesterday that I put out, and I talked about your pH levels, you know, if your pH level is as low as a 5.0, you're basically down 50% on your availability uptake on lime and fertilizer that you're throwing in the ground. You know, so if the pH is so important for uptake and things, and having that fertility right, getting the right stuff in the dirt, if your pH is that low, it just blocks nutrients from being able to be uptaken into your roots of your plants. So you want to get your pH and fertility at the right levels, because if not, you're throwing it away, man. Like I said, 5.0, you're like 50%. 5.5 is like 30%. At 6.0, you're still like 20% down. Yeah, so there's 20% of your fertilizer costs down the drain. You know, so yeah, you want to get that as high as you can. So yeah, I would definitely try to go higher, aim high.
It could be even more than that, depending on your organic matter and, you know, cation exchange in the soil as well. So you could be technically wasting even more.
Right.
A lot of that goes into the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's some different degrees there. Cation exchange is hard to explain to people,
just think of it as a screen door. The higher the cation exchange, the less that what you add granular fertilizer wise can run through the soil. If it's a higher, it has that ability to hold those nutrients in the soil, so it's not lost and just ran through the soil like a screen door. So that all starts with organic matter and building that soil up and things like that.
Yep.
Well,
organic matter is where it's at.
Matter.
That holds the moisture and nutrients in place.
Definitely.
Gotta have it.
Well, I'm gonna hop off. I'm gonna call it quits. I'm getting hungry. Yeah, I'm getting hungry. So, thanks everybody for watching, tuning in. Stay subscribed to the channel. Lots of videos coming out. Subscribe to Chris's channel. City Sticker Chris. Subscribe. There's a link in the chat. And then, yeah, just wanted to come with you guys, answer some questions, and we'll probably do this again here, and I don't know, coming up here shortly.
Anybody that's in the area, come see us at the Great American Outdoor Show in the Antler Grove booth in Harrisburg.
February 1st to the 9th, Great American Outdoor Show. Super excited. I know there's a lot of people coming, so I can't wait to meet you guys.
Yeah, it'll be cool to see some of the people from YouTube come and chat. Last year we had some guys come by and was taking pictures with us and stuff. And that was cool.
For sure.
That was pretty cool.
All right, signing off.
Yeah.
Later.
All right. Talk to y'all later. See ya.